Chapter 5. Gold in the Grass. Go, go, said Jack. He threw his notebook into his back. He pushed Annie toward the rope ladder. Bye, Henry, she said. Go, said Jack. He gave Annie a big push. Quit it, she said, but she started up the ladder. Jack scrambled after her. They tumbled into the treehouse. They were painted as they looked out the window at the dinosaur. He was standing on the hilltop, eating flowers with a tree. Oh man, whispered Jack. We are in a time long ago. The dinosaur looked like a huge rhinoceros, only he had 3 horns instead of 1. 2 long one above his eyes and 1 on his nose. He had a big shield-like thing behind his head. Triceratops, said Jack. Doesn't he eat people? Whispered Annie. I look it up. Jack grabbed the dinosaur book. He flipped through the pages. There, he said. He pointed to a picture of a Triceratops. He read the caption. The Triceratops lived in the late Cretaceous period. This plant-eating dinosaur weighed over 12,000 pounds. Jack slammed the book shut. Just plain snow meat. Let's go see him, said Annie. Are you nuts? Said Jack. Don't you want to take notes about him? Asked Annie. We're probably the first people in the whole wide world to ever see a Triceratops. Jack signed. She was right. Let's go, he said. He shoveled the dinosaur book into his back. He slung it over his shoulders and started down the ladder. On the way down, Jack stopped. He called up to Annie. Just promise you won't pet him. I promise. Promise you won't kiss him. I promise. Promise you won't talk to him. I promise. Promise you won't. Go, go, she said. Jack went. Annie followed. When they stepped off the ladder, the pteranodon gave them a kind look. Annie blew a kiss at him. Be back soon, Henry, she said cheerfully. Shush, said Jack, and he led the way through the ferns, slowly and carefully. When he reached the bottom of the hill, he kneeled behind a fat bush. Annie kneeled beside him and started to speak. Shush! Jack put his finger to his lips. Annie made a face. Jack peeked out of the Triceratops. The dinosaur was incredibly big, bigger than a trunk. He was eating the flowers of a magnolia tree. Jack slipped his notebook out of his back. He wrote, Eat flowers. Annie nudged him. Jack ignored her. He studied the Triceratops again. He wrote, Eat slowly. Annie nudged him hard. Jack looked at her. Annie pointed to herself. She walked her fingers through the air. She pointed to the dinosaur. She smiled. Was the teasing? She waved at Jack. Jack started to grab her. She laughed and jumped away. She fell into the grass in full view of the Triceratops. Get back, whispered Jack. Too late. The big dinosaur had spotted Annie. He gazed down at her from the hilltop. Half of the magnolia flower was sticking out of his mouth. Oops, said Annie. Get back, Jack shouted at her. He looks nice, Jack. Nice? Watch out for his horns, Annie. No, he's nice, Jack. Nice? But the Triceratops just gazed calmly down at Annie. Then he turned and looked away. down the side of the hill. Bye, said Annie. She turned back to Jack. See? Jack grunted, but he wrote in his notebook. Nice. Come on, let's look around some more, said Annie. As Jack started after Annie, he saw something glittering in the tall grass. He reached out and picked it up. A medallion, a gold medallion. A letter was engraved on the medallion, a fancy M. Oh man, someone came here before us, Jack said softly. Chapter 6, Dinosaur Valley. Annie, look at this, Jack called. Look what I found. Annie had gone up to the hilltop. She was busy picking a flower from the magnolia tree. Annie, look, a medallion! But Annie wasn't paying attention to Jack. She was staring at something on the other side of the hill. Oh, wow, she said. Annie! Clutching her magnolia flower, she took off down the hill. Annie, come back, Jack shouted, but Annie had disappeared. I'm going to kill her, Jack muttered. He stuffed the gold medallion into his jeans pocket. Then he heard Annie shriek. Annie! Jack heard another sound as well, a deep bellowing sound like a tube. Jack, come here, Annie called. Jack grabbed his backpack and raced up the hill. When he got to the top, he gasped. The valley below was filled with nests, big nests made out of mud, and the nests were filled with tiny dinosaurs. Annie was crouching next to one of the nests, and standing over her was a gigantic duck-billed dinosaur. Don't panic, don't move, said Jack. He stepped slowly down the hill toward Annie. Then the huge dinosaur was towering above Annie, waving her arms, making her turbo sound. Jack stopped her. Didn't want to get too close. He knelt on the ground. Okay, move toward me. Slowly, he said. Annie started to stand up. Don't stand, crawl, said Jack, clutching her flowers. Annie crawled toward Jack. The duck-billed dinosaur followed her, still bellowing. Annie froze. Keep going, Jack said softly. Annie started crawling again. Jack inched farther down the hill until he was just an arm's distance from Annie. He reached out and grabbed her hand. He pulled Annie toward him. Stay down, he said. He crouched next to her. Bow your head, pretend to chew. Chew? Yes, I read that. What you do if a mean dog comes at you? She's no dog, Jack said Annie. Just chew, said Jack. Jack and Annie both bowed their heads and pretended to chew. Soon the dinosaur grew quiet. Jack raised his head and don't think she's mad anymore, he said. Thanks, Jack, for saving me, said Annie. You have to use your brain, said Jack. You can't just go running to a nest of babies. There's always a mother nearby. Annie stood up. Annie, too late. Annie held out her magnolia flower to the dinosaur. I'm sorry I made you worry about your baby, she said. The dinosaur moved closer to Annie. She grabbed the flower from her. She reached for another. No more, said Annie. The dinosaur let out an sad turbo sound. But there are more flowers up there, Annie said. She pointed to the top of the hill. I'll get you some. Annie hurried up the hill. The dinosaur waddled after her. Jack quickly examined the baby. Some were crawling out of their nests. Where were the other mothers? Jack took out the dinosaur book. He flipped through the pages. He found a picture of some duck-billed dinosaurs. He read to the caption. The Anatosaurus lived in colonies, while a few mothers' babies sat the nest authors hunted for food. So there must be more mothers close by. Hey, Jack! Annie called. Jack looked up. Annie was at the top of the hill, feeding magnolia flowers to the giant Anatosaurus. She's nice too, Jack, Annie said, but certainly the Anatosaurus made her terrible sound. Annie crouched down and started to chew. The dinosaur bogged down the hill. She seemed afraid of something. Jack put the book down on the top of his back. He hurried up to Annie. I wonder why she ran away, said Annie. We were starting to be friends. Jack looked around. What he saw in the distance almost made him throw up. An enormous, ugly monster was coming across the plain. He was walking on two big legs and swinging a long, thick tail and dangling two tiny arms. He had a huge head, and his jaws were wide open. Even from far away, Jack could see his long, gleaming teeth. Tyrannosaurus Rex, whispered Jack. Chapter 7. Ready, set, go! Run, Annie! Run! Cried Jack to the treehouse. They dashed down the hill together through the tall grass, through the ferns, past the pteranodon, and right to the rope ladder. They scrambled up. Seconds later, they tumbled into the treehouse. Annie leaped into the window. He's going away, she said, panting. Jack pushed his glasses into place. He looked through the window with her. The Tyrannosaurus was wandering off. But then the monster stopped and turned around. Duck, said Jack. The two of them hunched down. After a long moment, they raised their heads. They peeked out again. Coast clear, said Jack. Yay, whispered Annie. We have to get out of here, said Jack. You made a wish before, said Annie. I wish we could go back to Fall Creek, said Jack. Nothing happened. I wish... Wait! You were looking at a picture in the dinosaur book, remember? The dinosaur book? Jack groaned. Oh no, I left the book and my pack on the hill. I have to go back. Oh, forget it, said Annie. I can't, said Jack. The book doesn't belong to us. Plus my notebook in my pack with all my notes. Hurry, said Annie. Jack hurried down the rope ladder. He leaped to the ground. He raced past the pteranodon through the ferns, through the tall grass, and up the hill. He looked down. There was his pack lying on the ground. On top of it was the dinosaur book. But now the valley below was filled with Anatosaurus, all standing guard around the nests. Where had they been? Did fear of the Tyrannosaurus send them home? Jack took a deep breath. Ready, set, go! He charged down the hill. He leaped into his backpack. He scooped it up. He grabbed the dinosaur book. A terrible tuba sound. Another. All the Anatosaurus were bellowing at him. Jack took off. He raced up to the hilltop. He started down the hill. He stopped. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was back, and he was standing between Jack and the treehouse. Chapter 8: A Giant Shadow. Jack jumped behind the magnolia tree. His heart was beating so fast he could hardly think. He peeked out at the giant monster. The horrible-looking creature was opening and closing his huge jaws. His teeth were as big as steak knives. "Don't panic, think." Jack peered down at the valley. Good, the duck-billed dinosaurs were sticking close to their nests. Jack looked back at the Tyrannosaurus. Good, the monster still didn't seem to know he was there. "Don't panic, think. Maybe there's information in the book." Jack opened the dinosaur book. He found Tyrannosaurus Rex. He read, Tyrannosaurus Rex was the largest meat-eating land animal of all time. If it were alive today, it would eat a human in one bite. Great, the book was no help at all. Okay, he couldn't hide on the other side of the hill. The Ankylosaurus might stampede. Okay, he couldn't run to the treehouse. The Tyrannosaurus might run faster. Okay, maybe he should just wait for the monster to leave. Jack peeked around the tree. The Tyrannosaurus had wandered closer to the hill. Something caught Jack's eye. Annie was coming down the rope ladder. Was she nuts? What was she doing? Jack wanted Annie up of the ladder. She went straight to the pteranodon. She was talking to him. She was flapping her arms. She pointed at Jack at the sky at the treehouse. She was nuts. Go, back up the tree, Jack whispered. Go! Suddenly, Jack heard a roar. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was looking in his direction. Jack hit the ground. The Tyrannosaurus Rex was coming toward the hill. Jack felt the ground shaking. Should he run? Crawl back into the dinosaur valley? Climb the magnolia tree? Just then a giant shadow covered Jack. He looked up. The pteranodon was gliding overhead. The giant creature sailed down toward the top of the hill. He was coming straight for Jack. Chapter 9: The Amazing Ride. The pteranodon coasted down to the ground. He started at Jack with his bright, alert eyes. What was Jack supposed to do? Climb on? But I'm too heavy, thought Jack. Don't think, just do it. Jack looked at the Tyrannosaurus. He was starting up the hill. His giant teeth were flashing in the sunlight. Okay, don't think, just do it. Jack put his book in his pack. Then he eased down on the pteranodon's back. He held on tightly. The creature moved forward. He spread out his wings and lifted off the ground. They teetered this way, then that. Jack nearly fell off. The pteranodon steadied himself, then rose into the sky. Jack looked down. The Tyrannosaurus was chomping the air and starting up at him. The pteranodon glided away. He sailed over the hilltop. He circled over the valley, over all the nests filled with babies, over all the giant duck-billed dinosaurs. Then the pteranodon soared out over the plain of the Triceratops. He was gazing in the high grass. It was amazing. It was a miracle. Jack felt like a bird, as light as a feather. The wind was washing through his hair. The air smelled sweet and fresh. He whooped. He laughed. Jack couldn't believe it. He was riding on the back of an Asian flying reptile. The pteranodon sailed over the stream, over the ferns and bushes. Then he carried Jack down to the base of the oak tree. When they came to a stop, Jack slid off the creature's back and landed on the ground. Then the pteranodon took off again and glided into the sky. "Bye, Henry," whispered Jack. "Are you okay?" Annie shouted from the treehouse. Jack pushes his glasses into place. He kept staring up at the pteranodon. "Jack, are you okay?" Annie called. Jack looked up at Annie. He smiled. "Thanks for saving my life," he said. "That was really fun." "Climb up," said Annie. Jack tried to stand. His legs were wobbly. He felt a bit dizzy. "Hurry!" shouted Annie. "He's coming!" Jack looked around. The Tyrannosaurus was heading straight toward him. Jack bounded to the ladder. He grabbed the sides and started up. "Hurry, hurry!" screamed Annie. Jack scrambled into the treehouse. "He's coming toward the tree!" Annie cried. Suddenly, something slammed against the oak tree. The treehouse shook like a leaf. Jack and Annie turned into the books. "Make a wish!" cried Annie. "We need the book, the one with the picture of Fall Creek," said Jack. "Where is it?" He pushed some books aside. He had to find the book about Pennsylvania. There it was! He grabbed it and tore through it looking for the photograph of the Fall Creek woods. "He found it!" Jack pointed to the picture. "I wish we could go home," he shouted. The wind began to moan, softly at first. "Hurry!" Jack yelled. The wind picked up. It was whistling now. The treehouse started to spin. It spun faster and faster. Jack closed his eyes. He held on tightly to Annie. Then everything was still, absolutely still. Chapter 9. Home Before Dark. A bird began to sing. Jack opened his eyes. He was still pointing at the picture of the Fall Creek woods. He peeked out the treehouse window. Outside, he saw the exact same view. "Where's home?" whispered Annie. The woods were light with a golden late afternoon light. The sun was about to set. No time had passed since they left. "Jack! Annie!" a voice called from the distance. "That's Mom," said Annie, pointing. Jack saw their mother far away. She was standing in front of their house. She looked very tiny. "Annie! Jack!" she called. Annie stuck her head out the window and shouted, "Coming!" Jack still felt dazed. He just stared at Annie. "What happened to us?" he said. "We took a trip in a magic treehouse," said Annie, simple. "But it's the same time as we left," said Jack. Annie shrugged. "And how did it take us so far away?" said Jack. "And so long ago." "You just looked at a book and said you wished we could go there," said Annie. "And the magic treehouse took us there." "But how?" said Jack. "And who built this magic treehouse? Who put all these books here?" "A magic potion, I guess," said Annie. "A magic potion? Oh, look," said Jack. I almost forgot about this." He reached into his pocket and pulled out the gold medallion. "Someone lost This back there. In Dinosaur Land, like there's a letter M on it. Annie's eyes got round. You think M stands for magic person? She said. I don't know, said Jack. I just know someone went to that place before us. Jack, Annie! Came the distant cry again. Annie poked her head out the window. Coming, she shouted. Jack put the gold medallion back in his pocket. He pulled the dinosaur book out of his pack and put it back with all the other books. Then he and Annie took one last look around the treehouse. Goodbye, house, whispered Annie. She slugged his backpack over his shoulders. He pointed at the ladder. Annie stared down. Jack followed. Seconds later, they hopped onto the ground and started walking out of the woods. No one's going to believe our story, said Jack. So let's not tell anyone, said Annie. Dad won't believe it, said Jack. He say it was a dream, said Annie. Mom won't believe it, said Jack. She say it was pretend. My teacher won't believe it, said Jack. She'll say you're nuts, said Annie. We'll better not tell anyone, said Jack. I already said that, said Annie. Jack sighed. I think I'm starting to not believe it myself, he said. They left the woods and started up the road toward their house. As they walked past all the houses on their street, the trip to Dinosaur Time did seem more and more like a dream. Only this world and this time seemed real. Jack reached into his pocket. He clasped the gold medallion. He felt the engraving of the letter M. It made Jack's finger tingle. Jack laughed. Suddenly he felt very happy. He couldn't explain what had happened today, but he knew was sure that their trip in the magic treehouse had been real. Absolutely real. Tomorrow, Jack said softly, we'll go back to the woods. Of course, said Annie. And we'll climb up the treehouse, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. And we'll see what happened next, said Jack. Of course, said Annie. Wish you. And then they took off together, running for home. Anatosaurus, that means duck lizard, got its name after its special beak. The mouth of this dinosaur resembles a duck's beak. These lizards were pretty large in size. This dinosaur ate plants and seeds. Triceratops were plant eaters, famous for their spectacular horns and a neck fin. I thought it was the size of an elephant. Triceratops were built more like a rhinoceros with its slow neck and intimidating horns. Tyrannosaurus rex means king of the tyrant lizards. Tyranno means tyrant in Greek. Saurus means lizard in Greek. And rex translates to king in Latin. Tyrannosaurus rex were one of the most ferocious predators to ever walk the earth. With a massive body, sharp teeth, and jaws so powerful they could crush a car, this famous carnivore dominated the forest river valleys in western North America during the late Cretaceous period, 68 million years ago. Pteranodon's name means wings and no teeth. It was one of the largest flying reptiles that were close relatives of dinosaurs. Pteranodon lived in huge flocks and cruised over the ocean looking for fish. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you like it. We'll be uploading new videos every week. like and subscribe. Bye!